Howdy, y'all. So on the next episode of Ricky's Big World, we gonna spill all the tea.
When he saw it out in the front yard, and the dogs went crazy. It was like midnight or nighttime, dark as mess. And he said all of a sudden he saw some eyes in the woods outside. And then his dogs just went nuts, went crazy, barking and everything, but they would not go out in the woods. And these are hunting dogs. So that says something. So all of a sudden, he said something was crouching and stood up. And he just kept looking up and up and up.
Back in the Pizza World caverns, behind the test ovens, and in reality next to the bathrooms, it's Ricky's Big World.
Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Ricky's Big World. Of course, I'm Big Old Ricky. So, all right. Roxanna Jana sat down a cup in front of me, and I have not seen it yet.
Yes, this cup was given to me from the owner. And
Robert.
Yes, I have a few cups over here, actually. But I picked this one.
Okay.
So
I'm going to show y'all first, because I haven't seen it yet. Is my finger covering anything up?
No, I think they get the point.
Now I'm going to look at it. Man, your back. Please. That's a lot of drama for that. Did he do the artwork on it?
He did.
But is that a good thing or what?
You tell me.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. No, I'm talking about with the question mark. With the question. Is that good or is it not?
Are you happy to be back?
Yeah, I'm happy to be back. Temporarily.
Then I guess it's good.
I mean, we ain't got no snow here, so we're good.
Fair enough.
All right. So thank you. So what you want to talk about today?
I want to know, and I've been very curious about this. Do you have any conspiracy theories?
Am I into conspiracy theories?
Yeah.
I used to when I was younger. Not really so much today, because I got too much on my own plate to deal with. But I'm worried about that. Whether or not these lizard people or whatever working at Walmart. I ain't got time for all that.
I was really curious if you were one of those people that believed in the lizard people that worked at Walmart. You seem like that kind of person.
No, I'm not into that. Now, there's some things. I watched that Ancient Aliens show. I love that show. I'll be honest with you.
So that's what prompted this question, because you have told me before that you watch Ancient Aliens. I was like, okay, he has to have some conspiracy things that are off the wall.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about watching that. I watch it with I never take anything for fact. I watch it purely as entertainment.
Yeah.
Entertainment. But at the same time, though, I also don't. I've never been that person to sit here and say, okay, just because you said something means it's true.
Fair.
So hearing him blah blah and all this about all this stuff, I do my own research. Okay. Now, I actually used to be okay. I used to be real interested in archaeology. I wanted to be either an archaeologist or an anthropologist.
Yeah, me too.
And I took an anthropology course, never opened a book, and made an A+ on it in college.
Wow.
Economics too. I still got the book, and it's still wrapped. I know, my dumb self. Anyway, but so there's some aspects that don't make sense to me when it comes to things like that. Like you got Machu Picchu. Okay, why? What happened? I understand this, but you would think a strategic place like that would still be used today.
Yeah.
Not covered for however long and then rediscovered. They just discovered under Petra in Jordan. In fact, the place where it's in Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Last Crusade, where they go there, they just discovered a tomb underneath it with skeletons inside. Okay. Mm-hmm. And for centuries, people kept thinking, it's just a meeting place for this. It was called the Treasury for a reason. And then they did find some artifacts in there. And it's so very interesting, but there are conspiracy theories that were coming out just because there's conspiracy theory that comes out everything. Your ranch dressing is a high yellow instead of the white color that we're used to. What conspiracy? You got uranium in it now? I mean, so there's going to be a conspiracy theory about something.
Right.
All right. So that's why I don't get into them. And I like facts. I like to do research on things. Now, the Ancient Aliens, that's why I like watching it, because what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll go to a place that I know will have not adequate, but I can't remember the word, facts.
Yeah.
Accurate, that's the word. Accurate facts on it, like a university or
right.
Smithsonian. Someplace like that. I don't do Wikipedia and all this other mess.
Right.
So if I hear something about, okay, well, because the one that really gets me is they're saying the Sphinx is actually older than the pyramids by the way that the canals are made.
Yeah.
And so
they also talk about how like that's not the original head because
right,
it's too small for the proportion.
That is actually should have been a lion's head.
Right.
But but what interests me was in saying that the Sphinx is far older than the pyramids when everybody was thinking that the pyramids were actually made at the same time as the Sphinx.
Right.
But yet the water erosion around the Sphinx says that used to be a very lush green area. And so there's so many different things. But just because you see it on a TV show,
yeah,
you don't go around spilling all that information as fact.
Right.
So you got to go research it.
Yeah.
But research it at reputable places.
Yeah.
Not just because you know your toe fell off on WebMD said this. No, go to the doctor.
Do you have any of those situations where you're like, I don't know the answer to that. That's suspicious.
Why did Pizza World want me to do a podcast?
is that the conspiracy?
That's my conspiracy right there. I wonder about that.
Yeah. And
where is the office in the bathroom? Because I've been in there many times and I don't see nothing.
There's a special knock.
Oh no!
Did they not tell you that?
And I don't want to know. No telling what you're gonna find out with a special knock now. Well, what about you?
Conspiracy theories?
Yeah.
I used to be really, really into them. I think it was just like fun, you know?
Yeah, but like, you know, I feel like you were trying to pull something out of me to tell you what conspiracy theory. Which one are you thinking?
I don't have one specifically.
Okay.
I just knew that you were watching Ancient Aliens, and I was like,
right,
well, you got to be into some stuff.
How about the moon landing?
Ooh, do you think it's real? It's a question.
You know, here's the thing.
This is my favorite one to talk about.
You know, growing up in the 70s and 80s was past the moon landing thing, okay? Now, you go back and you watch the original footage, and they're all talking about how, oh, there's no wind. There is wind in space. It's solar winds.
Yeah.
And then they talk about how, oh, this shadow, this. To where they're nitpicking it so much that it's hard to believe what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
And in fact, there's a movie now that's come out where they talk about how they recreated it, and it's a comedy with Chad Tate.
Yep, I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it either. But it's just one of those things where people want to nitpick things to where now it gets to a point where, okay, well, if we actually did see something like an alien spacecraft ride around town taking, touristy pictures, would we believe it? Because AI and artificial intelligence and CGI and all this has made it to where anybody can fake it.
Yeah.
So one could walk in right now and no one would believe it.
Yeah.
Or you'd be so gullible that you believe anything that happens.
Where are you on that? Like, do you think it happened or no?
The moon landing?
Yeah.
Oh, that is one of those things.
That one's a hard one because, I think the big question is why haven't we gone back?
Because it costs too damn much. Number one.
No, I know, but
here's the thing, and this is why I just don't really think about it anymore, because we got too much mess here to fix before we start going out there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, how
Well, they have,
about we
the
fix
new
all this stuff here?
SpaceX, Space Force stuff.
We ain't talking. There's actually a Space Force credit union that you can get a mortgage through.
That's awesome.
No, okay, so it's out of this world rates.
Yeah,
But
you should do their you should do their radio spots with that fancy new equipment you have in the house.
Ooh, I love that equipment. I love that. Your little clock didn't come on.
Oh, I didn't.
That's all right. All right, so what's another one that they did? They did a show that I saw, and it was about mermaids.
See, okay, that's the stuff where I get into. There's so many.
You're a nut job.
I'm a nut job.
Yeah, you're a nut job. But that's okay.
There's so many stories, like especially around like the Caribbean.
Well, did you see the one that was about? They made it into a documentary, and they made it to where a mermaid had. You ain't gotta be throwing stuff and breaking it now.
It wouldn't be our podcast if I wasn't. Because you know it's true.
We can't have nice stuff because you want to throw. Anyway, so where they supposedly had ones come up on shore and then had all these injuries on it, and then they were saying that the Navy was testing sonic, a sonic attack weapon, and that's what was killing them.
That would be very interesting.
And different animals like whales were having the same things.
Well, aren't they having those problems right now, like with those wind turbines and the whales going crazy, ending up on shore?
I don't know about that.
So could you imagine what Sonic would do to mermaids?
Oh Lord. But anyway, so I watched that one because they were saying that there was proof that there really was one. They did this. Then come to find out it was actually all fake. I was like, well, all right, well, okay, fish woman, this fish half man, what? I don't care. But then there was this one that I saw that actually really made me think about things, and because like I said, I approach those type of shows or those type of so-called documentaries with a grain of salt. Okay, more entertainment purposes than anything. What are you doing?
I'm just looking at the.
I know, but when you do that, you worry me because I'm like, okay, is something wrong? Am I wasting my breath? And she gonna tell me that nothing recorded?
You're not. You're good.
Is she part of some secret government agent?
That's what it is. I'm part of the mermaid secret agent.
With Joe Disney self, I believe that.
Anyways, go ahead.
I really believe that. Although, I did watch that the new latest Mermaid, Little Mermaid thing.
Oh yeah, the remake.
That had what's her name in it? It's almost like Halle Berry, but it's not Halle Berry. It's Haley.
Yep.
Anyway, I watched it. I didn't like it because I felt that it could have been done better. It could have been done with less over-the-top CGI.
Oh, yeah. It was the CGI that did it for you?
And I didn't like the ending at all.
Oh, yeah.
I felt there was more to her story.
Yeah.
As far as the actress is concerned, she was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so it was really good. So getting to that point. Now, there are some weird conspiracy theories down south, like the White Thing. Did you ever hear about the White Thing? No. So out in Harris County, Georgia, which is right outside Columbus, Georgia, one of Big Mama's relatives used to live out there, and it was way out in the country, way out in the country, and they would tell us, you make sure you don't go out there because the White Thing gonna get you. Now, the White Thing was supposed to be like a 7-foot-tall werewolf.
Is it kind of like a Sasquatch, Bigfoot kind
I
of
said
thing?
werewolf. I didn't say nothing about no Sasquatches and no
Okay.
Bigfoots
It's a werewolf.
and
It's a
big
werewolf.
toe and acne feet. I ain't say nothing about that.
Does he turn into a werewolf during a
You
full moon?
can I tell the story if that's
Sorry,
okay?
Go ahead.
All right, so I don't even want to tell you no more. Anyway, so
no, you have to tell me.
So all of us kids were out there one day. And we were spending the night. And they were like, don't go outside after this time because the White Thing gonna get you. And again, 7 foot tall, real slender, supposed to be like a white furred werewolf. with very human features, but instead of long tail or whatever, it had the nub. And I mean, my uncle described it because he says he shot it one time when he saw it out in the front yard, and the dogs went crazy. It was like midnight or nighttime, dark as mess, and he said all of a sudden he saw some eyes in the woods outside, and then his dogs just went nuts, went crazy, barking and everything. But they would not go out in the woods, and these are hunting dogs, so that says something. So all of a sudden he said something was crouching and stood up, and he just kept looking up and up and up, and it stepped out, and it was that white thing. And he said he ran in there because he kept his shotgun right there by the door.
Yeah.
Over the door frame, actually. He grabbed that thing, went outside, and he started shooting. And it started running. He says he thinks he shots it, but not sure. But we were all out there, and I think this was a prank on us, though. But we were all asleep, and the window was like real high up. And all of a sudden, we kept hearing something scratching, a little bit scratching. And then we saw the tips of ears that were white fur pointy walk by and then stand there. And I remember this because I didn't just see it. Every other kid in there was looking, and we saw the ears twitch like that, like it was listening, like if this was real. And let me tell you, somebody who hightailed it. He hightailed it out of that room into Auntie's room at 1 o'clock in the morning. We didn't care if we woke them up or not. And we told him what's going on. Uncle grabbed that shotgun, ran outside again. He said that was the white thing. And so the conspiracy theory behind this is two, actually. One, the whole circus and the train accident out in the woods. Okay.
A circus train accident?
Yeah, you never heard that one?
Uh-uh.
So it's supposed to be like, if you hear, sometimes you'll hear a beast story, a beast in the woods and all that. 9 times out of 10, it's followed by a train that was traveling through and had circus animals, and the train derailed and some animals got loose. The majority of the time, they're like chimpanzees or some other kind of ape.
Right.
All right. So there was that one going around. The other one was, there's a research facility in the area.
It's always a darn research.
Of Stranger Things. And they were doing genetic mutation this. And then my great auntie said, well, Auntie Wiggs said that she had been hearing that story since she was little, that was passed down from her grandmama. So it's an old story in that area.
Wow.
You ever heard of the Rougarou?
Uh-uh.
A Rougarou is a French word. It's based off of French loup-garou, which is a werewolf in French.
Okay.
And it's big in Louisiana. The Rougarou.
So the South has a lot of werewolves.
So yeah, South, we got lots of everything. We got haunted houses and ghosts and tax collectors and everything scary.
I mean, you still have dinosaurs there, so why wouldn't you have werewolves?
Hell yeah. Oh, man. I told you about the story about the April Fool's joke one time?
No.
About the dinosaur?
Uh-uh.
So, April Fool's one year when I was growing up a kid, all right, and there's a section of Columbus, Georgia called Bibb City. Now, Bibb City used to be the main living area for people who lived at or worked at the Bibb Mill, so they named it Bibb City.
Okay.
And it was kind of like the projects at the time when I lived there, but they then went in there and hyped it all up, and now it's supposed to be the well-to-do this get a little country. Anyway, so they had this article that came out in the newspaper, and it was hand drawn. It's supposed to be an eyewitness account of a dinosaur in the Chattahoochee River.
What?
Now, Bibb City, you got the house here, then the bank here, street, another bank across the road, and then nothing but woods, deep, thick woods before you get to the Chattahoochee River. So if you're down at the Chattahoochee River and you start talking, I could hear you talking from my apartment that we lived in. We lived in that area.
Okay.
All right. I still remember the address of that apartment too. But the funny thing is that people believed it because it is so ingrained in us that there's other things living in the area of Columbus, Georgia, and Phoenix City, Alabama. Because of the way the river is, and yes, we do have alligators, crocodiles, whatever you want to call them. We do have pythons, water moccasins, everything else. Somebody said that they saw an anaconda recently. And then these fools decided to go ahead and blow up the river a little bit to make whitewater rafting so that the dinosaurs can have lunch.
No.
And a zip line going from Columbus, Georgia to Phoenix City, Alabama, so it looks like rotisserie chicken hanging from the thing. Okay, for the dinosaurs. No.
It's crazy to me because, like, Lake Tahoe is a similar thing. It's called Nessie. And Nessie.
Lake Tahoe and Nessie?
Yeah, Lake Tahoe. It's called Nessie. And then it's very
They couldn't be more original than Nessie?
I know. And it's called, it's very similar to the Loch Ness Monster, obviously, Ireland.
When we lived in Vermont has one on in the area that we lived in. God, what's the name of that thing? But it's supposed to be like a Nessie.
Really? I think it's interesting that, like, this happens different places. You know what I mean?
I think the biggest thing too is we need to really listen to our Native American brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Because their stories are so old, and that there's got to be some truth in those.
Yeah.
And so.
And some of these lakes, I mean, they're so big, so unexplored. Like Lake Tahoe is massive.
I ain't never had the money to go no damn Lake Tahoe, so you can go ahead and just keep doing all that all you want to.
It's massive and deep, and there's so much of it that's very unexplored. Here's
my thing: if you got one Nessie, you got to have a mama Nessie and a daddy Nessie to make one Nessie. So what are the other Nessies? Well, how come we ain't seeing 3 Nessies or 16 Nessies?
It's true. I don't know if they suspect that maybe it's just living a very long time. Like, there are things in the ocean that are way older than us.
Oh yeah, like the coelacanth. So the coelacanth. Why you look at me like that every time I say something? So you didn't think I don't think she thinks I'm educated. So a coelacanth
That's not it.
Was believed to have been. It's an ancient fish.
Okay.
That was believed to have been extinct for millions of years, and they found one in a net swimming off the coast of South Africa.
Wow.
I can't remember if it was in the 90s. I want to say it was in the 90s, but I may be wrong. But when you look at it, it looks prehistoric.
Yeah.
And now they're everywhere. They're just common now.
Really?
Like gorillas. People thought the gorillas were a myth. And so they proved them wrong. So they're real. So who knows what's out there?
I'm pretty sure they just found like a shark that was like 500 years old.
Yes.
And they were able to do by looking at their eye.
I saw that one too.
Things like that, like maybe those creatures just live a very long time and they just happen to be the last one.
Well, I think too, if people leave them alone and let them do their thing, then we'd still have some things around.
That's fair.
That's where it goes. All right. Now, there's also, because our species, and I don't know why we talking so smart on this one.
I know today you're like this just led to.
I feel like a professor.
I love that we're. I love that we got into some like specifically southern stuff too.
Well, it's like, all right, so in Seattle, we used to live in Seattle when I was, Jennifer and I...
You haven't. I don't think we've talked about that yet on the podcast. We're going to have a whole episode about that.
Well, the reason I'm saying it, underneath Tacoma Narrows Bridge, so if we miss the ferry going from where the island we lived on, we have to drive around, go across Tacoma Narrows Bridge, which is around Gig Harbor. Now, Tacoma Narrows Bridge is the one that... it used to be called Galloping Gertie, and it's the one in these old videos from like the 30s or whatever, 40s, where it's shaking so bad because of the high winds, because it's so high up.
Right.
Cars would fall off of them.
Wow.
Well, when the cars fell in them, it was said that they had giant octopus that would attack the people in the cars. And because you know how octopus, they can get in anything.
Yeah.
Well, they thought that was a myth they proved they're really there.
Really?
They're a giant octopus in Puget Sound in that area underneath the bridge. It's not Galloping Gertie no more. It's a nice bridge, but it's they proved that
so
they're
who's to say there's not a Nessie or a Loch Ness?
True. I mean, I'm not.
just don't know
I
yet.
believe it because I mean it's so unexplored
And mermaids. I mean, like,
and so deep.
don't they say that we have more space? Like we've just like figured out more about space than we have our own ocean.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, they said they see marks on these sperm whales that can dive to those deep areas.
Yeah.
And they have these attack marks on these whales they cannot explain.
You just don't know what's down there. It's so dark. It's so deep. You just don't know.
Ain't no telling what's down there. And I'm telling you what,
Where
I
the
ain't
mermaids
taking my
are.
chunky self down there. I'm not, like I said, you could smell the delicious in the water.
Smell the delicious.
Smell the delicious. So
No, that's so cool. Like, I love that. And it's crazy that each community has their own kind of story.
but
too.
each community also has very similar stories.
Yeah, I know, right? So, like, there's all these different stories about Sasquatch and Bigfoot. Like, why?
Well, and I'm gonna get all nerdy again.
Yeah,
Hold
let's
on,
get
hold
nerdy.
on.
You got your glasses on.
So, when we used to have the supercontinent Pangea, and
We got real deep.
the all the continents had formed one major continent. Then yes, we had all the species that were alive at that time were commingling and eating each other and whatever it is. So when the continents decided on their own that they wanted to say, we tired of this tenement thing. It's time
They
to
had
move
a
out.
meeting,
They
a
had a-
Zoom
they
meeting,
had a
and
meeting.
decided.
So there's remnants of that, and I can see where those stories would go because we're all one species too. As humans, I don't care what culture we come from, we're all still one species, and we are storytellers.
Yeah.
And so our species was sitting around the fire telling stories about the Yeti and the Sasquatch and whatever language and whatever this. And maybe they existed at one time. And there is new evidence. I was watching this one thing. I can't remember what it was. But again, I like to have some type of backbone to it.
Right.
And they were talking about
I think
how...
you have to nowadays anyways with so much information out there.
Well, they were talking about how there's new evidence. All right, here's the one that gets me. Neanderthal. You don't find Neanderthal clothing. Even though they know they have existed, they're saying they don't find clothing for Neanderthals. And Neanderthals also lived among humans in cold regions. So what they're thinking is Neanderthals had that thick fur that we lost. And they were very aggressive. And so they would kill humans, but also mate with humans. But what they're saying is they think that the Sasquatch and the Yetis are actually Neanderthals that are still alive.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, there are plenty of cultures that are still untouched by us. I know it's hard to believe, but there are still villages and little societies that have gone untouched from us.
But we're not aliens. We're not from another planet. This is our planet. And so when we say untouched, okay, I get it. It's not a discovery. They know they were there.
Yeah.
So, it's just a certain culture that's saying, okay, well, we have to find this culture to prove they exist. They know they exist. They don't need us to prove that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't need other
So
humans
they
to
could
say
be
that they
just
live.
one of those other societies that are out there.
But when I saw that, and everything they were saying about it was like, okay, that makes scientific sense. That made sense to sit there and say that yes, they had a thick layer of fur.
Yeah.
To where they didn't need clothes. Yes, that their diet consisted of this, and this because they were more aggressive than we are. But then when they sat there and said, "Hey, what everybody thinks is this may actually be this this sect of I can't remember the technical scientific name, but anyway, that Neanderthals may actually be the Yetis and the Big Feet that everybody's talking about. They just survived and living in hiding. I don't know.
It's interesting.
It was an interesting theory that I never thought of before.
I know they were definitely mating with humans, because they talk about how, like, people who have Neanderthal blood in them that go way back, it stems from a very specific human woman and Neanderthal man.
I had a doctor,
but they haven't found it the other way around, so they think that maybe those births weren't viable if it came from a Neanderthal woman.
That's very possible. And I know somebody's watching who is really, really into this stuff, is going to correct the mess out of us. And that's okay.
I appreciate the comments.
That's okay.
Let us know.
I'm not an anthropologist or archaeologist. Are you?
Nope.
No. So
I'm just having fun.
But the thing is, though, is that, the evidence that they brought about was very interesting about the Neanderthal theory and the Bigfoot theory together. Because that right there is something I never put together, that they didn't find the clothing, they didn't find this, they didn't find that, but yet they know that they existed.
Yeah.
So if they had that kind of fur, and that they're describing exactly what a Yeti and a Bigfoot is. So
what do you think about the conspiracy of birds aren't real and they were all replaced by the government in the 70s?
I'm sorry, what?
That birds are fake.
Who the hell said that?
That's one of the conspiracies that
I never heard that one before.
That birds were replaced by the government with they're like drones in the 1970s.
Okay, so that fried chicken that I ate last night, and them chicken wings I ate, is a drone part?
I don't think it's that kind of bird, but...
So when I sing "I the Sparrow" in church, I'm talking about "I the drone"?
I guess. Yeah.
That's
you haven't heard that one?
No, that's dumb.
What about the weather modification?
You talking like trail lines and stuff like that?
Yeah. Like
I do think that there have been to where, like, they'll trail line like extra salt in the air to form more clouds, so that there is more moisture and all that. I do think that. Now, whether or not they're trying to destroy the climate, no, I don't think that.
Now, here's the biggest one. Flat Earth.
Okay. I don't even want to touch that dumb. I mean, here what I want to say. I want to see somebody just go ahead and get on that boat and just go.
If you are a flat earther, please leave comments and tell me why. I want to know, because they say there's like an ice barrier around us that you can't,
Well, I know we've had satellites up there that shows the round Earth. I need to tell somebody to put their own satellite up there who's a flat earther to show us what
How
is.
How do you know those aren't doctored?
That's true.
AI's a thing. I could type something.
Okay, but a plane. What about a plane going around?
Does it go around?
They say too that if you stand like here's Earth, yes, round, and you stand because the way the Earth curves. If you were to sit down, you'll see a sunset. One sunset. You stand up, you see another sunset. Because of the way the Earth curves, then you'll see the other view as well as it's going down. That also proves the planet is round. And we look at the moon. The moon's round. Jupiter round.
Is it though?
Neptune round.
I mean, you only see one side of it.
Well, that may be true. It could be the paper side, right? But when they were drawing it back in the 1600s, 1400s, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know it rotates, and it's got different,
It's true.
Crater points and everything else. So I don't know. I'm not getting into that one. That's one, because you cannot tell a flat earther nothing about that.
I'm genuinely curious on like the talking points for that. Like, what makes you dead serious, like dead convinced that you perceive the Earth as flat versus round?
Okay,
the hard thing for me is like is the footage, like the photos. Even though I know you can go and doctor those very easily, like.
Okay, but when did that theory start coming around though? When doctoring capabilities became...
I mean, we've been able to doctor photos for centuries, though. That's not a new
Not
practice.
to that level, though.
I mean, we were able to edit buildings out of photos. You know, back when you had to have one bulb flash. Like, we've been editing photos as long as photos have been. So it's not unheard of. I'm just saying, it's just curious. Just another topic.
No, I'm just saying.
What about Area 51?
Oh, yeah. Now,
you think there's aliens in there?
No, Lord, we done ran out of time. Like we were sitting on 0 for a while.
It's fine.
But I'll say this about that. Do I think there was a government location? Yeah. Do I think that they're not going to sit there and say, oh, by the way, yeah, Area 51 exists. Let everybody believe that it exists there, because they're going to have another secret area someplace that nobody knows about.
That's true. I didn't even think
I mean, that's just dumb to sit there and think that, oh, we're going to put everything right there. And let's say for argument's sake, let's say, okay, it's real. My question is why? Yeah. Why would you waste energy, all that power and energy, to bring a little spaceship here
Technology.
From wherever?
You don't think it's weird that we got cell phones so quick and like we haven't done anything else since then?
But I also believe that human beings are capable of doing things like that. Now, I will say this. There are the scientists who believe that we had a huge leap from our prehistoric self.
It was quick.
And it was in the blink of an eye in time, and our brains just amassed. We're able to do things that other animals cannot do. Now, there is something to say about that.
Yeah.
But I need concrete proof of things before I start believing things like that.
I do think they're fun to discuss.
It is very fun, and it can be irritating too, especially for the viewer and the listener, because they're going to have their own opinions. Y'all have your own opinions.
Yeah, and let us know. Fine. Let us know. Ricky and I want to read comments.
And you may call me the biggest dumbass in the world, whatever. I mean, that's fine. That's fine. Like I said, I am not a scientist.
Me neither. We're just here having fun. And
but I'm also not somebody who's going to believe everything that comes out of somebody's mouth either.
Yeah.
I'm not dumb. So there's that.
I am interested to see what the family has to say.
All right, look here. My chin done hit it again. So that's another episode of Ricky's Big World. We're going to leave the light on, the door unlocked. We're going to be bringing no nonsense in here, okay?
Or aliens or monsters or dinosaurs?
If they got credit cards and cash to pay for the pizza, go ahead. All right. Thanks so much. All right. So, Ricky Big World. Until next time. Bye.